Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are here with a very special episode for a trailer reaction to the new Deadpool and Wolverine, which there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at San Diego Comic-Con as well with Marvel. So really excited to get into it. On today's panel, we have below me, we have Paris, aka Lucky Charms.
What's up?
And then above me, we have Paul, also known as Cerebral Paul in the gaming community. So hopefully you guys are seeing this live on the Vertical Shorts. We're going to do a live trailer reaction to this trailer. All right, let's go ahead and get it started.
I know I turned it into a joke.
The weather looks nice there.
I want to use that for something important.
He's definitely on the trying to redeem himself vibes.
I waited a long time for this team.
Yep.
Okay.
In my world, you're well regarded. You were an X-Man.
You are an X-Man. Bro, you need to
Fuck,
wake up.
The X-Man.
Yeah.
The Wolverine. He's a hero in my world.
X-23.
Yeah, well,
There's
There she is.
X-23.
you ain't shit in mine.
Okay, well.
All right. So just from that part of the trailer alone, there's been so many spoilers right there, I think, like Easter eggs.
Right.
How do you guys feel so far from what we saw?
Paul, let us know. How you feeling?
I'm excited for this. I mean, I really haven't been following it that closely because I wanted to be hyped for it. I didn't want to have, too much, I didn't want to overexpose myself to it. So so I waited till this trailer came out to really start watching the stuff. Aside from what we were seeing on social media from Ryan Reynolds and stuff, which was just been fun. The ride's been fun, but I'm excited. I like the way they're feeding in a little bit of everything, and they're giving you, like I said, they're not spoilers so much as Easter eggs. You're seeing I think we're going to see a whole lot of Easter eggs in this movie. And that's always fun for those of us that have been comic book fans for a long time. Oh, even if it's not from the movie, those of us who've read the books are going to be going, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. That's where they got that. And
Right.
to me, sometimes the hunt is fun, more than anything, aside from watching another Deadpool movie, which is always fun. And I really can't wait to see what they do with Wolverine in this kind of, this isn't a PG Wolverine. This is definitely going to be an R-rated Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
With Deadpool being involved, it's definitely going to be
Right.
R-rated.
Yeah.
Paris.
For me, so far what we've seen, like prior to even this being the final trailer, they haven't really released too much. So they released a lot of the stuff, the jokey stuff and the comedy. And this one sort of turns for a serious tone, a little bit more like, okay, well, this Wolverine in this world, bro, I ain't nothing. Like, that's basically what he's saying. I'm not the Wolverine that you think I am. Like, the other Wolverine is that guy, but I'm not him. So it's so cool to sort of see how they're touching on sort of like, I don't know how he got in touch with this Wolverine, so I'm glad they didn't show that. So I'm excited to find out sort of like, out of all the Wolverines and all the multiverses, why this one, right? So that's going to be an interesting storyline of him trying to figure out why this Wolverine is really important to help him fight this battle on trying to stop whoever the supervillain is in this movie. So, and for him to get his family back. Now, if they tie it into all the other universes and all the TVA, we've seen some of that in the previous trailer. So, how he's able to travel through the multiverse. So I really am interested in that and how they connect all this stuff back together again, based off of what they've been building on in this current phase. So, for so far so good on this final trailer spot right here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the trailer, and we'll stop when we see something else. But here we go.
1 week.
Scott used to be
Alioth, like that, the World Destroyer.
a beast.
Yeah.
Toad,
And I've been thinking I
Toad.
wanted to be there. And it was too late.
Xavier's twin.
Xavier's twin sister, Cassandra.
is right here in this picture. And I have no idea how to save it alone, but you know how to save him.
Sabretooth, right?
Yep,
Look
Sabretooth.
like it, yeah.
So
Yep.
just from there alone, what I want to say is that, man, like Deadpool is counting on this Wolverine to save Deadpool's world, right? Deadpool's like, I care about all these people, man. Come on, help me, Logan, help me. And this Logan's like, I couldn't save mine, whatever happened.
Yeah.
So how is this going to tie into the MCU? How is this Logan going to end up staying in Deadpool's universe, like this Deadpool universe, and he's going to reconnect with all his uncanny X-Men? Like, is that what we're seeing here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the Marvels, they introduced the X-Men in that other universe. So, how's that tie into all of this? Right?
One thing I like about this whole, I've never been bothered by the multiple universes like some people have. I like the fact that they can draw from all the different stories and all the different groups, and the fact, we're looking at Wolverine here in his yellow suit, and this is the first time we've seen Wolverine in the yellow suit that everybody wanted to see him in. So here we go.
Right.
And then, Paris, why don't you go ahead and for those who may not be familiar, give a little background on Cassandra as best you can.
Oh, Cassandra. Cassandra Nova. She's Charles Xavier's twin sister. So, and the comics is a little bit different and based on, I don't know how they're going to tell this story. So, her DNA was whatever creature she was. She mimicked the DNA and she became Charles Xavier's sister. So,
hey, Bad Bear.
Right. So I don't know how they're going to tell the story. The movies are always a little bit different. So maybe she may be just a twin sister that just been hidden this whole time. Who knows how they will bring her into the into this universe.
And again, it's the whole different universe thing. Just because the Charles Xavier we know didn't have a sister that we know about, doesn't mean that on some other universe he didn't have a twin.
Yeah. And she's hell-bent on destroying everything. So based off her profile, she is not the one to be messing with. I think one of the comics they had her partner with the Sentinels and killed and destroyed 16 million mutants in Genosha. Wow. So so that was her introduction to some of the Marvel comics.
I think this is going to be my first introduction to her outside of some comic book stuff.
Right.
It's the first time we've seen her in movie form, right? I don't believe.
So it's going to be interesting because she's not a nice person. So it's going to be interesting to see how she unfolds in this and how angry she is. And why is she in Deadpool's universe? Like, why is she in this universe?
And it's interesting to me that if she is the big bad, and it seems like she is, that she's a different kind of big bad than Thanos was, or that what's his name?
Kang. Kang or Ultron.
All the other big bads had their moral reasons that you could kind of see where they were coming from. Right. This one, not so much.
Well, it just took Ultron to like 3 minutes on the internet. He was like, "We need to reboot everything."
And shout out to everybody watching us right now. Bad Bear said hello in the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Hit that like and share this out as well. It helps us on the vertical feed. And just feel free to chat with us. We'll try to answer any questions you have. Paris runs one of the largest Marvel Cinematic Facebook groups. Paul is the Xbox ambassador and accessibility consultant up there. And I just love talking about comics and video games and everything else. So anything in the chat, just drop it. But so what we do know is Alioth is in this, right? So that means there has to be something with the timeline divergence here if Alioth's in this, because he's like the eater of the worlds and he destroys worlds that kind of like gone off the verge of the timeline, right? Correct. Yep. So how does he tie into this? This is what gets me. Is this a reset for Kang as well? Could this be a reset for Kang in the MCU?
I don't know because this movie was shot during the time that was all happening. So maybe they could have went back and did some scenes and changed the storyline around. We'll see. But just the whole premise of that creature destroying worlds, and we already had the TVA. So, and all the events that happen in Loki. So we're gonna try to figure out sort of like how that ties into this, as he is now the time owner and extended all the branches and kept all the universes alive, right? So he wasn't destroying all the multiverses; he just let them go out and continue to grow. So yeah, I guess we're gonna see what happens here. Yeah, let's continue on with the trailer.
Wherever you think I am.
See, right here, right there, that's the part. Like, what is she doing?
You got the wrong guy.
X-23, all grown up.
She's back.
All grown up, man.
All the fans are excited to have her back.
Until you weren't.
That's such a powerful statement. You were always the wrong guy till you weren't.
Fuck yeah, I'm ready.
Right. Lady Pool, I saw that.
You saw the dog pool as well, right?
Yeah, dog pool. Some Spider-Man references. Okay.
With pew pew pew, which is not which I think is hilarious.
There we go. July 26th.
Oh man, I'm so excited for this. I'm
5
so
days.
hyped. I'm so hyped for this, guys. I can't wait to see this in the theaters, and hopefully we can get the Deadpool and the Wolverine buckets. I don't know if they'll be sold out.
Yeah, they're pretty classic. Yeah, so Carlo, what are you thinking about this movie when it comes to sort of like the overall feeling of Marvel Studios and how this movie is going to set the tone? Because after this, Captain America, well, they have Agatha's show on the Disney Plus, but then when I talk about movies, they have Captain America: Brave New World that comes out in February after this. So how do you feel like this ties into like getting the hype back at Marvel Studios? How do you feel about that?
I think that this movie is bringing back a lot of fans, and maybe casual fans too, right? Just comic book fans from Deadpool or Wolverine fans, because this is a very interesting crossover. We've seen Wolverine and Deadpool in the comics multiple times, and they've always been humorous together. So making this movie, throwing the Easter eggs in there, the Rob Liefeld joke as well with just the feet, I mean, it's classic. It's classic humor. And the timeline divergence, man, this is like a great soft reset for Marvel, and I'm very excited to see it, because from here, now Marvel can start branching out and they can decide, hey, which Wolverine do we want in this universe, that universe? Hey, where's Alioth going to fit in? Where's Kang going to fit in now after everything that happened with the previous actor? So it's going to be a really great restart point, I think, for Kevin Feige, the Russo brothers, and all the teams that are trying to make a cohesive universe together. This was something that was needed after the last few movies kind of fell flat with major audiences. Mm-hmm. This is going to hype it back up, right? This is going to get it back to where it needs to be. And then from there, like you said, we got the Agatha, we got the Captain America that looks really good, action-packed, right? It's got the Red Hulk in there. So there's just so much we can do from this. If I was Marvel, I would say there's so much we could do from this. But Loki, timeline divergence. The timeline divergence alone is endless possibilities to bring in so many different characters. And seeing Toad in this, right, it makes me think of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Yeah.
So when I think the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, I think of like the Blob, I think of Juggernaut, I think of the classic guys. This is a great place to start bringing them into the movies, because the classic characters are so beloved just from those old covers, the old X-Men covers. Bring some of those guys in. Make the Juggernaut a serious contender. Make Sabretooth a serious contender, right? Do something serious with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And then epicness will happen.
Right. What about you, Paul? How you feeling?
I mean, I'm excited for this, but I will say, as far as the future after this, I'm cautiously optimistic, because this could go either way, because part of the big draw of this movie is the fact that it is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and their chemistry together, and those two characters together. Now, and so what they choose to do after this, yes, this could be a good kicking off point, but how do you follow this up and keep that same momentum? That's going to be the hard part for them. I don't think any other two characters carry the kind of weight that these two carry as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, allowing them to go full R, basically. Does this mean from now on we're going to see more R-rated superhero stuff, which isn't a bad thing? I mean, look at what The Boys does on Amazon. Look at what some of the other stuff does. There is definitely an audience for it, and people want this kind of hard-driven, fun kind of superhero.
Right.
It's not, comics books have never been just for kids. I don't care what people have ever said. If you really look back at them, they've never been written just for kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, their stories, they've told some pretty cool, interesting stories that, they're not for the faint of heart, right? Based on some of the things that you would see. So yeah.
So I mean, depending on where if they do it right, they could ride this for a while. As long as we don't get what we've had with the previous incarnation of the MCU and a little bit of burnout or lackluster stories that kind of kill the mood. So I have high hopes. So I mean, there's a lot they could definitely do, and having access to all the different universes, it definitely opens up all kinds of different stories.
Right.
So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, there was a thing where they released that Blade was going to be rated R to stay true to the Blade. Like it's going to be like for Blade, like he's slicing through vampires, and it's really hard to do that in a PG-13 sort of style, right? When you got to stake a vampire and chop its head off to kill it and all this other stuff. So you gotta have to.
Well, and we've come a long way, because if you go back and watch the original Blade movie, which was a great movie,
right? You
can tell all the blood and stuff was digital, because they'd have all these big bloody explosions and nobody would have blood on them. It's like, where did it all go?
Yeah. But the fact that they're doing an R Blade movie is, sort of touches back onto this. So they're learning to really tell the stories and to tell it well with today's audiences. You've got to not try to, we need to make it family friendly. No, you don't. Not really. I wouldn't say you don't have to make it family. No. I would more say that it's more like they can expand it a little bit without having to adhere to certain age groups. Like they can cater the audiences. They can sort of split it up. They can also do like family friendly superheroes. Like if they decide to go back and do the Young Avengers, they sort of can keep that tone for the younger kids and stuff like that. So they can scale it. And they have one of the things with Marvel Studios and Marvel, they have a roster. They have a roster of heroes and villains and all sorts of things that they can pull from. And, the same thing what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy, like no one really knew who they were. They're like, who are these people? Like what group is this? So they were able to take that group and build something cool and do really good movies with that entire cast of characters that grew on people without it having to be sort of like a hardcore-ish thing. So there's opportunities there, but I like the fact where they can do Blade, and if they do Man-Thing, and from what was the movie in October? I'm forgetting the movie. Well, it's not a movie. It was on Disney Plus. It was on Halloween. Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf
by Night, which was really cool.
Yeah. So you bring that sort of that dark universe in and create sort of that with Blade and Werewolf by Night.
And you notice what all of those, like Werewolf by Night did it, and this one looks like it's going to do. They also play into a little bit of it's more natural. It's not always super serious. There's these cute little moments that kind of make you giggle and laugh. Right. So it feels like they're more real as far as the character development goes. That they say smart ass things or they say really stupid things, and you kind of go, "Wow, okay," because it makes them more human. I've never been a big fan of the straight, solid, dramatic superhero thing because, they're still going to be people. They're still going to, mouth off to each other or whatever, So,
right.
And to me, that's what makes it work for me. And I've noticed in some of the stuff for this movie, it really looks like they've made it self-aware. as far as they kind of, I think it looks like from some of the stuff I've seen, they're going to be breaking the fourth wall periodically. Maybe not directly, but making statements and stuff to each other that let you know that they know that they're kind of telling a story.
Right.
You know, which to me is cool. You know, you can't do it with all the superhero movies, but for this one, Deadpool has always done that. Right. Remember Deadpool from frame one of the first movie? He always did that. He looked into the camera, said something, directed at the audience.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw the 20th Century Fox sign in the ground.
Oh, like, yeah.
That same Carlo?
Yes. Yeah. So that was, that's like a joke, right? I mean, because of how bad some of us were. So I want to give a shout out to Rock in the chat, Rock88. Thanks for stopping by. And as well to Munda de Lobahina Gamer. Thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate that. To everybody in the chat, if you like, share, we appreciate it so much. You know what though? I just think that with everything going on, and I want to reiterate this with SDCC coming up, I think Kevin Feige being there is a pretty big deal. There's something happening in the Marvel Universe that is to get fans hyped up for whatever's coming next. And for Kevin Feige to come out and do some panels and do some speaking presentations, it means Marvel has stuff in the bag that they got either almost completely done or completely ready to announce. And that is just going to get us more hyped for what's coming down the pipeline. And keep in mind, it doesn't have to necessarily be like major theater releases. It could also, some stuff could be on Disney Plus that tie in as well. I mean, it's the What If series has been a fantastic series. Werewolf by Night, like you mentioned earlier, Paris, was another amazing feat that they did as well.
Right. Yeah, because like even though they might have had some setbacks in the movies, like the big blockbuster movies, like Marvels, Eternals, and stuff like that, even though they didn't deliver huge box office results, they still had some really good stuff on Disney Plus.
I actually liked the Eternals. I actually thought the Eternals was a decent movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like the blockbuster. Yeah. $1 billion. Like Marvel Studios is. Unfortunately, they got hit with the label that they got to make $800+ million to be considered successful, right?
Right.
But and it's because they've been averaging like $1 billion here, $1 billion there, $2 billion, per movie. So, which is great, but sometimes, and one of the things that for me is like you don't give like studios an opportunity to sort of experiment with things and try to see if they can generate that same sort of thing. And maybe that was what they were doing. They were trying to tell different stories, and which they did. And just didn't connect.
The Eternals and stuff do feed into the MCU, but that movie was kind of a setup for a lot of stuff. I mean, look at the ending scene with Blade. Basically,
Yeah.
So I mean, but people don't. I guess if they're not really into the lore, they don't catch that.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, people go watch the movies, and then a lot of people go watch them 2 or 3 times. Like Captain Marvel, the first one, somebody watched it 120 something plus times.
Oh, good.
Might have broke the record on. That's a lot of times to watch a movie, but hey, they went out and did it because they liked it so much. But when you're talking about like when we're looking forward to like the future of the MCU, this is like the perfect time. So I'm excited for what they have on the plate.
Plus,
on the slate.
I don't know if it's considered MCU, but we are getting a Fantastic Four movie at some point here.
Oh, it's considered MCU. It's considered. Yeah. It's going to be tied all in. Yeah. So Fantastic Four they announced. So hopefully at San Diego Comic-Con when we're there here this Friday, they
maybe
this
because
Wednesday.
because Kevin's going to be there, you'll get some
I'm feeling
news.
Hopefully because he's been making the press tours. I don't know if people have been catching. Go look him up on Twitter. Look up on some of the articles that are out there. He's been doing interviews, a lot more interviews than he's done lately, and he's been out there. There was a interview that he did with a few people where they came in and asked him some questions. So that was cool. So it's good to see sort of he's back outside, and which leads me to believe that they got something coming, and hopefully San Diego Comic-Con, when we're there, is the coming up. We get the full sort of.
And San Diego Comic-Con is one of the shows where they tend to do that too, where they bring out the Hey,
They give us
surprise!
the big layout, the big map,
Yeah.
right, of the next several years. We get that, and then they show something that we don't know, right, and we get some timelines and stuff like that, some dates.
The old, as you know, the old. Hey, just one more thing.
Yeah. That's one more thing, right? And they announce some new characters, and they bring those people out on stage, right? That's always been sort of their mantra that brought fans into this. Is like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this is gonna be great. So
and you're right. After the last few movies, they need I know they're trying to drive the hype back up.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. It's
Yeah.
this movie's just the start. I think this movie's going to do very well. No matter what it does, this movie's going to do well. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
And
it's really good.
For everybody watching right now, I know there's a lot of people in here. I want to thank you all for watching. If you hit that like and subscribe button so you can be notified when we go live, we're going to be going live from San Diego Comic-Con in different places as well where we're allowed. We will have press access to some things like the Pirate Party from Adult Swim and the Paramount Plus sets that they set up at the Happy Does Bar. So we're going to go live with some of that footage as well. And whatever, if for any reason, anybody else, any comic book companies or Marvel, DC, they allow us to go live as well, we will. So keep that in mind and stay tuned to this channel and like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. But I want to go back to just the future of the MCU here, Paris. Like, Paul, I'm just really excited. And I think...
you want the Juggernaut featuring movie.
I know. Yes. I mean, that would make everything 10 out of 10. Juggernaut comes in. Hey, always 10 out of 10 with Juggernaut. But I do think that maybe, right? I mean, I think Psylocke's gonna be in the Brave New World somehow, a cameo appearance. I already talked to Paris about this, but I think that the fatigue that we saw, I think, came from the Marvels and Ant-Man, and I think the casual market just wasn't a fan of those characters, and that's okay. But I think bringing the Russo brothers back into the fold, the ones who made the great Avengers movies, and it was so hyped at the time. I think we're going somewhere with Marvel, everybody. I think we're getting somewhere, and I think Marvel has seen the bigger picture, what hardcore fans want and what casual fans want. The Russo brothers delivered that very well, and that says a lot to go back and bring them back into the fold. So I'm very happy for that.
Right. I will say, I thought the first Ant-Man movie did well. I personally, I like the first one a lot better than I like Ant-Man and Wasp. But that was more of a storytelling issue than not liking the characters or being aware of the characters. I just think,
Well, I mean, the Ant-Man and Wasp was the second one. So
Right.
the third one was the one with Kang.
Yeah.
So they've had those three. And they've done well. I mean, they're not the big, huge sort of $800-900 million blockbuster audience pulling character, right? So he's an interesting character. Like, he's got sort of his thing, and they created solo movies, which did work, and he was an important part of the Avengers and Endgame and all that other stuff. So Civil War, he was in that. So I think if they continue to do that and they sort of focus on sort of like their main characters.
But that goes back to what I was saying about how the stories they tell after this are going to be important. Fantastic Four,
right? And that leads us to, like, what are we going to do with the X-Men? When are the X-Men coming to the MCU? And are they going to be in this universe? Like, do we have right the main 616 universe that we have, where Brave New World and all that stuff is in, right? Just because, like, at the end of Captain Marvel, the Marvels, at the end of that movie, Monica Rambeau got stuck in that dimension. She got stuck in that other universe, and that universe happened to be where the X-Men were, because they introduced Beast and a few others, right, in that universe, which they're mutants in that universe. So does this Deadpool and Wolverine movie get tied into that universe? And if it does, would we have two universes? One sort of like all the stuff that happened on Earth with Thanos and all the things that we see with Captain America, we have all that stuff there, right? That's just one universe. And then we go to the X-Men universe, where we have all the mutants on Earth, and it's a total different story. It's a total different things have happened. There's no connection to the two other than the fact that Rambo ended up there. And maybe that's sort of the way to go. And I think they should do that. I think they should keep them separate. That's just my personal opinion. I know other people are like, no, we should. But if you look at Earth, Earth is in the MCU 616, that planet, and we had Thanos, you had the invasion, you had Thanos, the snap, you had all this stuff happening in the universe already, right? And all those people have been through some hell. And then you're going to introduce them to mutants. I think that Earth, Earth has seen too much, right? That universe has seen too much. But if you keep them separate, you have this whole new playground to play with new characters and X-Men, and you can sort of introduce all them. Maybe even do a solo Cyclops movie. After X-Men 97, Cyclops was the star of the show, and they can sort of build on that.
Wait a minute, you mean the Juggernaut wasn't? Oh, come on.
But I'm just saying, but you can have Juggernaut in one of these movies, right? And it doesn't have to be sort of like in the Earth that we see. We have Juggernaut can stand out as the super villain by himself without worrying about like the Hulk or something like that. Oh, look at the Hulk to stop him, right?
I think in the way that's got to work too is the fandom has to wrap their head around the fact that Charles Xavier is not always going to be able to be played by Patrick Stewart. The man is pushing 90. Okay, so we're gonna have to bring somebody else in. And yes, Hugh Jackman came back to play Wolverine here, but he's not gonna be able to play Wolverine forever. So
that's why I'm saying if you keep that separate universe and you create another Wolverine in that universe, you can sort of bring him in that way. Hey, that's the Wolverine over there, but this is the Wolverine.
This is the Wolverine
here in the X-Men thing, right?
To go back and tell the stories from before, basically.
Right. So you got a whole new universe. Like I said, you got a whole new playground to play with the. And then you can do the Juggernauts and the Psylocke and all those characters.
I mean, they already kind of introduced that with Spider-Man when they had all three Spider-Men up there on the screen,
Right. So you can sort of do that and keep it and make it work. I think the fans would be happy, and fans would be able to tell the difference. Okay, well, this is going on here, Thor and all the stuff, and the Avengers here. Okay, this is all the X-Men, and they're fighting Magneto and all the other people here, and this is all that's going on, and then maybe you do some sort of convergence with and you bring them all together, right? Avengers versus X-Men and which I believe is happened in the comic, which has happened in the comic books at one point or another. They brought them all together. There was the Secret Wars. Like you do a Secret Wars and you bring them all together,
which we thought they were leading into. Which is one point we thought they were kind of leading into. Yeah.
But I think they should hold on Secret Wars until after they get this X-Men sort of universe built up. And they tell those stories. We get like an X-Men. We don't need to get a whole bunch of individual solo movies of them all young.
No,
right?
we don't need to have their origins reintroduced from the scratch.
Right, right. And then we just throw them all in that. But the cool thing is what would we do with the Fantastic Four? Like, which universe are they going to be in? Are they going to be in
that? Yeah, that's going to prove interesting. That's going to.
I think it should be in the 616, but that's just my personal opinion.
And they can keep them in their own little story, telling their own little story, and not having a crossover. If they do it right, there's no reason to hype them up because they are a very strong core of their own. They don't need the X-Men to help hype them up.
Right. Yeah, they have following. They can build off all that stuff, and you can get Doctor Doom. Can bring in some of the other villains that are out there. But I'm just excited sort of what direction they can take. There's so many they can do. And that's the fun thing of having a sandbox like this, where they can just dive in and tell some really unique stories and things like that.
Like I said, my whole thing is they need to do it thoughtfully. They can't just do it for the sake of doing it.
Oh, of course.
People want this, so let's just throw together a story and people will buy it. Don't do that. Don't.
Yeah, no. No, I agree.
That's just like Carlo with Juggernaut.
No, we can, but no, hold on. We can throw Juggernaut in anything, and it would be great. That's Juggernaut makes everything great. Bushido is in the chat. He says, hello, Paul. He also says he used to hate the comic book version of Captain America, but in MCU, he's the favorite character for him. and he still has the Avengers vs. X-Men comics. And RWK was asking if anybody knows who owns Dick Tracy's IP.
Right now? Ooh. Oh, good question, actually.
Let me find out.
Yeah. I know it's traded hands a few times, but yeah.
But no, I'm just, I'm thinking you brought up a good point about what universe the X-Men could be in. And if we see the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants in this, and Wolverine from a different universe is in this, could they just pull the X-Men into this universe?
Well, I mean, you could, but then, like, how would you do that? You would have, what, 2 Earths? Like, are you just going to pull just the X-Men into the universe? Like, then how does everyone else become mutants? Like,
right.
That's my other thing. Or after the snap, right? Do people come back with mutant powers because they were snapped away? Like, I don't know, man. I just think that they should keep a separate universe and not try to incorporate mutants into the 616 and just sort of, hey, this is the mutant universe over here. This is all the people that are born with mutant powers, and they got the X-Men versus Magneto, and you got all that stuff going on, right?
Yeah, and they have to, like, with the Eternals, when you had this end of the world thing going on, and everybody's kind of going, well, where are all these other heroes?
Right.
So they really never explained that. It's just all of a sudden all these other big bad heroes were, none of them were to be found. It's like, so you have to explain either where they are or where they're coming from, or it falls flat.
Well, yes, but then we do see G.W. Bridges, who's been in the X-Force comics in a Brave New World. So there's also the ability of Doctor Strange and portals and multiple universes, the multiverse of madness, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, portals could come into Deadpool's
there are
universe,
ways, but they need to explain it. And once okay, you brought them in, but why? And do they leave immediately afterwards? Or are they going to stay? Is their Earth destroyed? They have to stay. What do we do? So hopefully they kind of think that all out.
Yeah, I think they will. I think we're going to get,
like, the whole thing
is
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine going to stay in this given universe?
Yeah.
With Deadpool after this, he really has no reason to go home, though. Yeah.
Let me answer that question about Dick Tracy's IP. It looks like they've been passed between Disney and Tribune Media Services. Apparently, Warren Beatty sued for them and won. So, and I don't know if they're going to be public domain or not. There's a whole bunch of weirdness that goes on with them. There's nothing that's clear that says actually who owns them. I know Warren Beatty, he was the actor that played. He sued for the rights too.
In that really bad movie with Madonna. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they were supposed to figure out sort of like who owns those. But yeah, when you got IP rights that no one can agree on, and sometimes those things happen, and
it's really hard to make a film for that stuff.
Yeah, it's tough to make a film because everybody's going to have a piece of it, and
that's
one party doesn't agree.
They ran into with Spider-Man for the longest time.
One party doesn't agree.
Spider-Man was spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Hey, Timmy, what's going on, man? Thanks for dropping by. And everybody, hit that like button, share it out, and follow the channel. If you haven't been following the channel, we are going to be covering San Diego Comic-Con and some stuff live while we're there. And we'll get some information that we'll release on the channel. So,
yeah. Like we did the Captain America Brave New World trailer review, so go check that out. Also, tune in to Agatha. That show is coming on Disney Plus here next couple of months, so that's going to be cool to hear her story and like how and like what's up with Scarlet Witch. Is she dead? All that stuff. What's going to happen with her on that, and how does Agatha sort of regain her coven, and what does all that stuff stand like witches and and all that stuff stand in the MCU? Like, it's going to be interesting for sure to see.
And to everybody in the chat right now, if you want to drop some questions or comments, like what do you think is going to happen in Deadpool versus Wolverine? What universe do you think it's going to take place in? What universe do you think this Wolverine's from? What do you think is going to happen, with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and Toad? Do you think we're going to see Juggernaut in Brave New World? Drop those comments below and tell Paris that Juggernaut is a 10 out of 10 character. He will understand.
I will understand. Well, they give Juggernaut a solo movie. Could you give Juggernaut a solo movie? You could if you told a story, right? You probably could.
Yeah, if you told a story, yeah.
Yeah. But he's, he found some power, and he's also Charles Xavier's brother. So they have an interesting. Charles Xavier has an interesting family tree with Cassandra.
So apparently, Charles
Cassandra
Xavier is
Nova.
the only one that ended up on the side of good for the entire family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the sister, she's vicious. So in this movie, hopefully they figure out sort of we figure out what her end goal is. I don't know if you saw that she was connected to some sort of terminal.
Yeah.
And she was doing the string things in Loki. So does she have power over the timeline too? Of whatever timeline they're in, but Loki's supposed to be the timeline, so he's supposed to control it all. So is she interfering with the stuff that he's doing? Can she do that? If Loki unplugs from that, what happens to him?
Loki was the god of mischief, so he would just he could just be letting stuff happen for fun,
Nice. Yeah. Yobi, that's cool. Yeah, the Marvel Unlimited is a great service. I have it. You can read comics any time of the day on your phone. I try to read a couple each day, and then at nighttime before I go to bed, I just find some random series and start reading it. So trying to complete as many series as I can on there. It's pretty cool. It's just it's interesting how you can read those comics and then how they can use those stories and tell some of those cool bits and pieces of those comics and put them on TV and film for us fans to consume. So yeah, and there's some cool ones. I wish they would have did a Spider-Man's the Knoll series, right? And how he came to Earth and fighting all the superheroes and stuff like that. It's that story right there, Thor, all that stuff. He just was just the ultimate evildoer. And if we can ever get him into the MCU, just would be epic.
Yeah. I mean, just I always thought that they kind of shorthanded the symbiote suit with Spider-Man, that story was told much better in the books than they ever kind of breezed over in the movies. Because in the comics, it was much more interesting to me to watch that develop. In the movie, they kind of went you have 3 minutes to explain the story, and then we're off to Venom. Okay, great.
Right. Off to Venom.
Also, a big shout out to happy belated birthday, Yobi. Congratulations on another turn around the sun, man. It's always good. And yes, I got to agree with you right now that the Marvel Civil War arc is one of the best in the comics. It's one of my favorites. That and the Infinity Gauntlet stories. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet is always the classic one. Secret War. But yeah, when it comes to this movie, I think the fans, we've seen the excitement over in the Marvel group. There's thousands of fans going crazy over it right now. We're excited to hear everybody's theories and read everybody's thoughts on the movie. So yeah, we got over 167,000 daily people that are active in the group. So it's cool to see. And then we expect it to grow because of new movie. Every time a new movie or a show comes out, more and more people jump in and start being active. So yeah, look up Marvel Cinematic Universe on Facebook.
And I think I'm going to put these two on the spot that sometime next week, after we've all had a chance to see this movie, hopefully we'll come back and we'll do a follow-up.
We'll do a review of the movie. Yeah. We'll have to do it so we don't.
No spoilers.
Yep.
So spoilers. No spoiler review. Yeah, we can do that though.
Yeah, we can try to do no spoiler review, but I want to do a spoiler review.
We can do that too.
I want to talk about everything.
we can actually do two. We'll record two. We'll do the spoilerless review, then we'll do the spoiler review, which we'll release later.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we'll do a spoiler and non-spoiler.
Yeah,
but I want to do. I mean, we'll give enough people some time to watch it.
Yep.
Give it a couple weeks or so. That should be enough.
Because
most people after that have seen it.
I want to do one while it's still fresh in all our minds too.
Oh well, I mean, it's gonna be fresh in my mind because I'm gonna go watch it at least 2 or 3 times.
Well, some of us don't have that ability, so we gotta.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to it. I am really looking forward to this. It's the first movie I've been looking forward to like this in a long time. So.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and it's something I think it's going to bring people back to the theater, and it's going to stay in the theater for a little bit. So it's exciting as well. And also those popcorn buckets, I want to.
You just want to stick your hand in Deadpool's mouth or whatever it is.
The popcorn buckets, the Xbox.
The Xbox.
The Xbox. Cheeky.
Hey, I want to win that.
Xbox
I'm trying to win
controller.
that thing, man.
Yeah. Hey, go to Twitter. And retweet and get yourself signed up to win it because you still have time to do that. So it's only available on Twitter right now. So you have to go to Twitter.
Available on Twitter and go to the official Xbox account and retweet it from there. Don't retweet my retweet. That doesn't count. You have to. I'm not going to be the one picking the winner.
Yeah. So go check that out. Get an opportunity to win. A
very cool looking console,
Xbox controller and Series X.
Yep.
So, yeah. What else is there? What else we got going on for this? What are you guys feeling like? Is it just like the hype is there? We got a couple days for Comic-Con. Go check all that stuff out. All the things that are going to be happening there. I'm excited to see all the Marvel stuff, all the DC stuff, all the everything that's going to be out there, cosplayers, just the excitement that's leading up to San Diego Comic-Con is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to dive into that and talk to some of our favorite artists, the Mark Brooks of the world, the Alex Rosses of the world, Jimmy, and all sorts of people that are going to be there. Carlo, you probably know a lot more by name, but yeah, man, it's going to be cool. We're going to be able to.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of great people there. There's gonna be Julia Marchese. We interviewed her. She did the Stephen King, I think the Dollar Baby program. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. It might be called something else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
She
the one we just did the interview that's available on 4GQ TV and through all of our Twitter links because I shared them all.
I Know What You Need.
I Know What You Need, which is. It's a 40-minute short movie, but it's very well done, based on a Stephen King story. Go check out that interview, and if you have a chance at a film festival, check it out there as well.
She's gonna be doing a panel actually with comic book writers, and they're gonna be rereading some stuff, which is really cool. Breck, how do I say her last name? Breck Bassinger, I think DC's Stargirl. She's going to be there for a panel.
Stimson Sneed, who we also interviewed last week, is going to be there.
Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. With
also on Thursday night. So Paris, you got to be in like 6 places at once Thursday night. So get your cloning machine ready because you guys got a lot of places to be.
They have the press review for the Latina superheroes behind the scenes. That's on the 27th. There's going to be a lot of people there for that. What else we got going on?
The SAG-AFTRA panel with
Ashley panel. Yeah.
So make sure if you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, you let Paris or Carlo know, and maybe you guys can meet up and
Yeah. We got the tasting pop culture. The Culture Impact Iconic Eats, that's going down there. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm just naming things that we got information for because there's a lot of stuff.
To eat. I'm going to go here to eat, taste everything.
Yeah, and then there's the Animation Nation. That's going to be cool. They're going to have stuff from the story of the Faithful, the Wookiee, Ewoks, droids, Beetlejuice. all that stuff. They're gonna have some book signings there, so that's gonna be cool.
Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor is going to be doing some panels there as well.
Yeah.
Couples in comic books panel with a few other artists. I believe Terry Moore and his wife. So there's going to be a lot of great stuff going on every single day. There's going to be so many panels for so many different people, whatever fits your boat, whether it's DC, Marvel, Indie Comics, Image Comics, Skybound Entertainment. It's something.
It's gonna be fun. Like the Lionsgate is doing the John Wick pinball games, so they've got the pinball machines. They're coming in 3 different versions: the Pro, the Premium, the Limited Edition. They're pretty pricey, but they're doing a whole bunch of pinball games there. So better check those out and allow fans to play their new pinball games and their pop-up arcade that they'll have there. So it's gonna be cool. We'll definitely take some pictures. We'll probably do a contest between whoever else is there, myself and Carlo, and see you can get the highest score or something. I don't know. Maybe if we're allowed to go live right there and film ourselves playing pinball in a pinball match while we're there. So I look forward to a lot of this stuff. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I know that we've gone live almost an hour, and all of you guys have been great. Like, share, follow us, like we said, to stay in touch with SCCC News. We're going to be dropping here on this channel on 4GQ TV. We are press accredited with San Diego Comic-Con, so we will get behind-the-scenes stuff, inside scoops on things that we will release here on the channel and our redesigned website in the future. Paris, you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, PLock77. Oh, was it PLock197? I don't even know my Twitter handle. Just look me up as Paris Locker on Twitter. I think it's hold on, let me look. Hold on, let me give you the official name because I be on X, but I don't be on it that much anymore.
I be on Xbox. There you go.
Yeah, I be on Xbox, right? You can find me on Xbox as Locky Charms. My Twitter handle is PLock77. And if you want to talk Marvel stuff, you can go to the Facebook group. Just look at Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're the group with 500,001 members. So check us out there. 500,000 members in a group talking about Marvel stuff is pretty cool. Comics, movies, TV shows, memes, jokes,
including some people that are tied into the Marvel universe directly. So
yeah, we've got some of your favorite comic book artists that are in there. We have some actors and actresses in the group that have been in some of the films. So yeah, come check us out over there if you want to just jump into the Marvel lore, and that's something that I do daily and just have fun with it. So
Yobi has a question before we exit. He says, question for the panel: if you had a choice, what villain from Marvel would you love to see a game based on?
A villain game, like us playing from a villain as a villain perspective.
Yep.
Oh. Huh.
It's a good question. I think everybody's stumped except for me.
No. I have a villain of mine, but I'm just trying to figure out like how it would work, and what the story would be for me to be playing this villain. You know what? I probably would be Thanos. There's two. I would be Thanos and do a quest for the rings, right? Quest for the stones, for the Infinity Stones, right? So I would.
Not quest for the One Ring. Not quest.
No. Base the game on Thanos' quest to retrieve the stones. Not using anyone else, but you have to be Thanos to go out and get the stones from all these different locations, all these different worlds. Maybe there's some side missions to recruit people and to help you do whatever, or get money or whatever you need to do to keep the game going on. But a single player, third person fighting game where you're just Thanos, and then you got the glove, you got to go get the glove made, so you got to go get all that stuff, and then once you get the glove, you fight and you get the stone, you get one stone, and you use that stone to unlock the ability to get the other stone. So I think I would do Thanos and the quest for the stones, right, and turn it into a game. And you have all these different worlds. You got Earth, you got all these different places. You got to maybe do a Thanos where you got to be stealthy instead of like inviting your entire battle armada there and eliminating half the population that he's done in some of the other stories that you've seen. But no, I would do that, and then have it not connected to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I would connect it to the comics and have him. The reason why he's doing it because he's courting death. So I would have that sort of storyline. Like there's a reason why he's doing it. He wants to court death, and this is my way of doing it to prove myself. My love for her is by I'm going out to get these Infinity Stones. You get all the stones, and then at the end she betrays you, and you got to fight death. And you got to beat death, and she's going to be hard, maybe like on some Elden Ring sort of hard character, like at the end, like the last bosses Elden Ring, like impossible to beat even with the stones, you know, and then make it fun. So that's what I would do. Sorry for the long-winded thing, but that's how and this is just off the top of my head too. So there you go.
Nice.
See, and I don't know, because it's hard to do a villain-based game, because in the end the villain shouldn't win. You know, it's, you know, it's almost like a no-win situation in my mind, because in the end, you know, Thanos didn't get his final thing, and you know all that. To me, now does it have to be MCU or Marvel? Because you know Transformers, aren't they done by Marvel, or are they DC now? I know they've traded hands a couple of times.
They're kind of like IDW. They have their own universe, the Energon universe with G.I. Joe now.
Right, which is also includes G.I. Joe and has since the animations as well. But for villains, I don't know. For me, it's be more about telling a backstory of a very interesting villain, like what's his name from the X-Men?
Magneto.
Magneto, yeah. I've always found his backstory very interesting. So to see that develop would be interesting to me. But again, how do you end the game? Because you can't have Magneto winning per se. You know, he can win the battles, but he can never win the war, if you know what I mean. You know, it's so yeah, I don't know. I can't put as much thought into it as Paris did at the drop of a hat. You know, yeah.
What about you, Carlo? What's your hold on?
We know what Carlo's going to say.
No, wait, hold on before we get there. Just really quick on the Magneto thing. You could tell a villain story of him sort of and his lead up to breaking up with the Charles Xavier. They break up. Charles Xavier gets paralyzed, and then now you're Magneto, and now you're wanted, so you're being chased. And you're trying to recruit, so you got to go out and recruit other villains to help you do your thing of toppling the government, right? And maybe you got to do a bunch of things to do that. And there's missions where you have to, where everything is secure, where you don't have your powers because everything is made out of rubber. So you can't just waltz in there and use all your magnetic powers. Or maybe there's some things that are magnetic that you can find, and you can carve those into weapons and stuff like that and use those during the mission. I mean, there's ways of
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and in the case of that, because there's a lot he could do. Like you said, basically it's almost like the X-Men movie where they, the years past thing, where they went into the past and went into that history a little bit. You know, how did he build up his force of quote evil mutants, you know? Right.
How did he convince him, to join the team? So, there's things I think you could do. It probably would work. It'd probably be an interesting story, like if you were to pull that together and put it in a timeline where you have your powers, but maybe you don't have the full suit that he has, and you're not construct that. You got to find pieces and artifacts around the world to build this. And if you go out into certain places, maybe Charles Xavier, you got to run from Charles Xavier because he can take over your thoughts and then bring you back, and that's sort of like how you die, or not die, but how you get arrested, right? It's because you leave your helmet off for too long. There's a time,
and the anti-mutant government thing that he has to deal with through the whole thing. I mean, that's why to me he's one of the most fleshed out quote bad guys that they have in that universe. He actually has a true past and a true drive, and he's not doing it to be evil. He's doing it because he thinks he's right.
And maybe there's like a sensor that you put on where you can tell where Charles Xavier is looking, right? and he's bouncing around. He's getting closer to you. Oh, I gotta put my helmet on, right? Sort of thing. Trying to make it hard that way, and then like if you do get caught, then
because he can't sleep with that helmet on all the time.
I know, that's what I'm saying, right? They have a game based on that where you're running around trying to do bad things, and but you're not, because Magneto was never like 100% evil.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he was always like almost like an anti-hero type of he wasn't good, he wasn't evil, he was just trying to do what he thought he was best to protect mutant kind, and if that meant destroying all of mankind to get there, they just kind of got in the way, And
Yobi, really quick, I thought Doom was my other character I was gonna mention. I was thinking about him and how he could sort of reverse fighting the Fantastic Four. You gotta break into Wakanda because in the comics, Doom wanted to get the vibranium, but the Wakandans kept turning him down back before he was Doctor Doom. So maybe you gotta break into Wakanda to steal vibranium, and then you got to go into you're back in New York. You got to fight the Fantastic Four or stay out of their way. And a Doom game would work.
Doom would work, and plus that would take you back to Wakanda as well.
Wakanda, all that other stuff. So there's a few characters where you can sort of break them down and do a video game on and make it interesting, and tell a pretty cool story. I think third person perspective would work on a lot of those games. I think for me personally, as you can fly with Doom, you can fly with Magneto, and Thanos you can't fly, but you're strong and you want to be able to see him with the glove.
I was going to say, for the most, in most superhero games, people don't want first person because they want to see themselves.
They want to see their characters, right? Yeah. So you can do something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, we know the greatest villain to make a game on would be the Juggernaut. And so in the Juggernaut's game, right, you're playing as a Juggernaut, and your goal is to acquire the Infinity Gauntlet. Okay, so you're racing to get the stones before Thanos can get the stones, and
so you're fighting Thanos.
Yeah,
so you're taking my story.
So you're going, at different levels or across the universe, whatever. You're trying to fight people that are around Thanos that are helping him get the Infinity Stones, and you're trying to diverge the timeline in any way possible, because the Juggernaut, he's
smart enough to diverge a timeline.
He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. He just knocks out Doctor Strange, and he's like, give me the portal, and it goes from there. And then
so you're putting Juggernaut up there with the smartest characters in the universe.
Yes. Daredevil wouldn't even see him coming, you know what I mean? So
he's a savant, Paris. Apparently, he's a savant. Okay.
So towards the end of the game, like one of the final boss fights would be between him and Thanos. But the interesting part is, Juggernaut would have acquired the Infinity Stones from divergent timelines. He would steal a stone from different timelines.
So he's bouncing around.
Gets the stones. Thanos has the stones, and the fight would be between Thanos and Juggernaut, and they both have an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, I could see you telling that story. I could say, okay, so for example, you partner up with Doctor Strange. I don't know how that comes to fruition, but Doctor Strange opens up all these portals for you. He's your person that puts you in all these areas, and he tells you to wear a helmet because Charles Xavier's out there and he'll take control of you, and that's how you die. But then you got to go to all these worlds that Doctor Strange is putting you in, and you got to do a bunch of stuff for him. And you got to go get the gauntlet, and to do so, you got to fight even other Juggernauts, right? So that would be cool.
Yeah. But Juggernaut could not do it on his own. He's not that smart. He's not the brains of the operation.
Well, because remember, there was a bad Doctor Strange. So maybe Juggernaut could get to the bad Doctor Strange somehow, right? Maybe Loki helps him get there. Gets the Doctor Strange. It's like, listen, we have a serious problem. The good guys are going to win in my universe. You need to help me stop them, And that is how the story unfolds.
Okay. I could see that, but then is it compelling enough for people to go play it? I think it could be if you had the story right. But I think what I think a good Juggernaut game would just be a straight up just, hey, I'm just gonna plow through a city and just be indestructible.
Like
Kinda like
Rampage.
You gotta fight the Hulk.
Kind of like
Or
Wreck-It
something,
Ralph over here, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta fight the Hulk. You gotta make it from one side of the city to the other. You gotta fight all these heroes and you gotta break down all these buildings to do it. Like something where he's just running through stuff. Because he's super strong. He's got the helmet is made out of, what is it, like reinforced steel or something? What is it?
Yep.
Is it made out of antimony? It's something that blocks out Charles Xavier from getting into his mind. So,
And remember, the Juggernaut is the only villain in Marvel history that ever beat the Hulk.
well, he was good enough to walk away from a fight with a Hulk.
Yeah.
He beat the Hulk in one fight. He did.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. I'll give him that. He's strong. Like I would love to see something on Juggernaut. Like even if it's like in a movie, I think he would fit best in a movie, but on the villain side, of course. But I think he would be a really interesting, like the Juggernaut and the Blob, like just wrecking shop for villains, and the X-Men don't have an answer for those two, and they're just going crazy. I think would be a good opportunity for Juggernaut.
That's a good reason for the X-Men to bring in the Avengers.
Yeah, X-Men have to bring in the. Yeah, I always thought the X-Men were under what? Yeah, I mean, never mind, because they do have Rogue, and then they got Jean Grey, and then if she's not sort of being
Dark Phoenix. Oh,
yeah, Dark Phoenix. She turns into the Phoenix, and then it's over. Not just for you, it's over for everyone, right? Well, while we're on the X-Men, I know we're going to try to wrap up, but just really quick, I would love to see, like, if you were to pick X-Men heroes out of all the sort of what they're going to do, and someone that hasn't had a solo movie, which one would you like to see that you think could do? That you think could do one? I think for me it would be Cyclops, and then introduce Mr. Sinister in that solo movie. I think that would be just epic. Tell a story, how his family plane went down, his dad and mom were kidnapped by they're part of the Starjammers thing, and him and his brother are in those homes, and they're being experimented on, and then he's out of that, and then before he joins the X-Men, you got this whole sort of storyline of him, and then they introduce Mr. Sinister, and that's like the ultimate bad guy he has to fight, and then maybe he gets help from Charles Xavier and whoever else is part of the X-Men. But I think that would be my solo movie that I would love to see Marvel Studios sort of show that Cyclops is the leader, like set his flag, like boom, like we saw it in '97, like everybody was hyped on him, like jumped out of the plane, and it's like, I don't need a parachute. He uses blasters, like that was like he had some epic fighting scenes, and I think building off of that and putting them in, I know it may be a leap or stretch, but putting him like in that sort of scenario in a movie, I think would work really, really well. I think people would go see it.
Yobi took my pick. I would have picked Gambit.
You pick Gambit?
Yeah, I think Gambit would be a great story to tell on screen.
Have it sort of not universal. It's sort of like in that town of like Louisiana, that sort of flavor, down south. You've got the Everglades. You got all that stuff. You got not the Everglades, but the swamps and all that stuff. You got that sort of feel. Alligators, and maybe he's fighting the toad or something.
Alligators. Gotta have the gators.
Gators, you got all these like sort of, I think it would work too. A Gambit story, he's like in the casinos in Louisiana gambling, and he's winning, but then he gets caught because he knows how to he's got cards. So he's tell that sort of story of
that he's being a goofy little guy who has this ability, and he's not using it to save the world. He's using it to just and
then he gets brought into all this stuff because of the choices he's made, and they're like, hey man, you need to do something with your life.
And this ain't it. Exactly.
Like, hey, we need you. You're over here gambling and destroying casino boats because
there's so much bigger you could be doing than this.
Yeah. No, I think that would work too. A nice solo Gambit movie too. Yeah. What about you, Carlo?
You know, Psylocke. Psylocke is
you're on Psylocke. Yeah. Go ahead and tell it.
Psylocke is such an interesting character because, you know, she's in it's like a mind trapped in the quantum, you know, and the way her story unfolds is that typically she was not supposed to be a good character, you know, so she would have an interesting arc to tell on screen about her journey, where she ended up, how she ended up with the X-Men. Will she betray the X-Men at some point and then come back to the X-Men? Because, you know, she's one of those characters that are mysterious in ways. Like she's here for a time and then she's gone again. She's here for a time and then she's gone again. So flesh that character out with a great story and just run with it. You know, I think that would be one of the best X-Men movies we could see. And plus that she was one of the best 90s X-Men as well.
Yeah. Would you tell her from a storyline of her and she was in Japan, right?
Yep.
Okay. Would you tell her from like her time in Japan of growing up and how she learned how to offer, or how she got all her tools, her fighting skills, and goes through all that, and have her, go through all the family issues that she went through and all that stuff. And I think that could work too. Yeah.
Yeah, it might even turn out to be a great like series for Disney Plus or something if they couldn't do a movie. Maybe break it up into a series because there's just so much to that character that they could write in because there's not a lot. I mean, there's enough in the comics, but it's not fleshed out enough to be a full arc
feature. Yeah. I got you. Okay. Well, all right. Nice. What else? I think that's it. I think we were wrapping up.
Then we were wrapping up, and then we unwrapped for about 20 minutes here. So yeah.
Yeah, I call Cyclops movie Summers. Yeah, that'd be too. Yeah, Yobi Cyclops movie. Yeah, Summers, and then launching in the summer, right? It just would you could do so many epic things with Cyclops. Like it's just, I'm sure Marvel Studios knows, and I'm sure they are aware, and I think they'll probably work on something and be like, okay, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Goes to Arkansas and gets whooped up by Bigfoot.
No, Bigfoot was the Pacific Northwest. That's up near you. That's
Sasquatch from Marvel.
Sasquatch or some Marvel. Oh, okay.
There you go. Sasquatch can do it.
Yeah.
So as we finish wrapping up, Paul, where can people find you?
You can find me at the X, formerly known as Twitter, at CerebralPaul1. You can find me Twitch at CerebralPaul. Of course, you can find me here on Mondays and Thursdays for varying shows. On Mondays, it's the Pop-Up Powerbomb podcast. Thursdays, of course, it's for 4GQ TV. Tuesdays, you can find me on Retro Renegades. And then, and then Wednesdays, you can find me on the Xbox Ambassador channel at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern for Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul. And Friday, you can find me Wasted with Was.
And here
we can find you everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah.
Paparazzi Paul. And then you can find me on 4GQ TV. And you can find us at SDCC doing coverage as well. But I want to thank everybody for coming out. Hit that like, share again. Stay followed to the channel if you want dropping news from SDCC because we're going to make it happen. We're going to drop information that we hear right away. So stay tuned to the channel. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
What if?